It's possible for you to start an organization, and it's also possible for you to be around a whole bunch of people who have started organizations. And if everyone owns an organization and nobody's doing anything, then, I mean, I guess starting an organization is a thing. I'm telling the story of Lore.land. Lore.land has existed as an organization for years. I've made dozens of TikToks on the Lore.land tick. Whoop. I've made dozens of videos on the Lore.land TikTok, but I haven't actually associated it with much of a call to action other than representing it as the subject for development that I am prioritizing, which might be enough. Describing how I organize my art has been relevant in that context, and maintaining relationships with other people who are doing similar things has made a lot of the work that I do sustainable. I appreciate TikTok because you can see what I've made available via TikTok, which is thousands of videos, which are probably hundreds of hours, maybe thousands of hours. There are definitely days of videos on YouTube. Why would you watch those videos? Maybe don't. You can actually summarize the videos that I posted with Gemini. One reason that you would summarize the videos with Gemini is to consider what you might do in a day. If you see that I posted a video in a day on YouTube, you might do that. You might make that same type of video about about something different, maybe. A progression that I'm modeling is that you can spend an amount of time with Vim and enjoying developing fluency in some languages. And there are ways to make that rewarding relatively quickly. Like if you are already an author, or if you want to work with authors, then you can format books. And if you can format books with HTML and CSS, then you can tell stories and post those to GitHub and link that to a domain name and publish that way. I have already modeled that. That was the earlier arc in 2024 and 2025. I modeled starting with GitHub pages, moving to Netlify, and then moving to a dedicated server. Eventually, I couldn't afford the dedicated server, and then all of my sites went offline. Now, I'm connecting some of them to Netlify and some of them to GitHub pages, and I hope to be able to afford a dedicated, pardon, I hope to be able to afford a dedicated server for a year. And an advantage of that would be that I can plan for specific marketing arcs. Currently, I'm in a marketing arc for Lore.land. I hope more people check out my TikTok profile, and I hope more people check out my website. Then I'll update the website later, and the people who find that interesting can see how it develops. And this is storytelling about a web domain, and that's the point. That's the story that I'm telling about telling stories about a domain. Factshift.com began as wonder about how to structure information for different modalities, and I learned a lot, and I believe preserving some amount of wonder is constructive for newer audiences to practice. Although there were challenges, there were challenges along the way, and computer science isn't only human, and some of the things we can do with computers, we probably should build muscles to approach first as humans. And that's mostly relevant with different types of fatigue, like trying to keep up with machines in terms of what we produce. So I do recommend checking out my earlier videos and relating more to the pace of production to see what is easy to accomplish. And I also recommend developing with other creators and forming cohorts that kind of have a similar style of production. And an advantage of this is that you can get a taste of what it feels like to explore the nooks and crannies of the different social media. And different people can have different skills across different media. And that is actually how microeconomies are successful. The takeaway from this video should be considering creative microeconomies, considering the skills that you can practice per domain and reasons you might be motivated to explore, like actually as a creator. Cheers.